punctuated with a big flip there at the end. Raekwon Warfield ran for 3 touchdowns, and Westminster got past Century thanks to a big second half. South Carroll got its first win of 2023 and first for new coach Mike Crumley with an overtime thriller against rival Liberty. Winters Mill reached a program record for wins in the season when the Falcons moved to 7-0 by beating Springbrook at home. It's still Westminster and Winters Mill perched atop the county standings, and no matter what happens this week, their Week 9 matchup will be for the Carroll County Championship. The Mavericks can also lock up a winning CCL record this week. Carroll County is getting ready for Week 8, which features 3 intra-county matchups on tap: South Carroll at Century, Winters Mill at Manchester Valley, and Westminster at Liberty. It's tough to pick just one as our game of the week, so we're going to bring you coverage of all 3. That's right, it's another round of CMSportsNet's multi-game coverage. Join me and Mike Kraus with our pregame show that starts at 6:15, followed by kickoff at 6:30 from around the county. Francis Scott Key has the non-county game this week when the Eagles welcome South Hagerstown to Uniontown. We've mentioned the 3 other games already. Century's dropped 3 in a row against South Carroll. Man Valley has won 4 straight against Winters Mill, and Liberty is 0 for its last 4 against Westminster, but only by a combined 25 points. Let's take a look at some team stats for these upcoming county matchups. First up is South Carroll and Century. South Carroll had 21 points scored through the first 5 weeks, but the Cavs put up 45 in the last 2 games. The Knights have only scored 15 points over their last 5 games. Taking a look at Winters Mill at Manchester Valley now, the Falcons almost matched their best point total of the season with that win last week, and their defense is only allowing 8.3 points per game. The Mavericks have won 3 of 4 and scored 52 points in their previous 2 games. Time to talk about Westminster. The Owls got a big game on the ground from Raekwon Warfield, like we said, and Westminster has rushed for more than 1,400 yards this season. Warfield is averaging 8.2 yards per carry, and Kyrese Walker goes for 10.5 yards per tote. Jocelyn O'Donnell has a county best 7 sacks, and Casey Heisig leads the CCAL with 66 tackles. Over to Liberty now, where the Lions had won 3 of 4 before last week's overtime setback against South Carroll. Tristan West and Michael Martin have become reliable targets for quarterback Chase Miller with 16 catches apiece. Blake Cox has 5 sacks, and Nico Marsicano leads the team with 49 tackles. Last year's matchup, if you recall, was a doozy, with Westminster edging Liberty in overtime at Ruby Field. Let's look at some team stats from this matchup. The Owls have the county's top offense at better than 30 points per game, but the Lions have scored 55 points over the last 2 games. Westminster allows 16.7 points per game to Liberty's 23.4. It's a clash between 2 of the county's top quarterbacks when Kyrese Walker leads the Owls into facing Chase Miller and the Lions in Eldersburg. Miller leads Carroll County in passing yards, while Walker's 24 total touchdowns are tops in the county, and his completion percentage is the best of the starting QBs. It's time for the Coach's Corner, and we're going to hear from 2 coaches as they get ready for Week 8. First up, Westminster coach Chris Basler. Coach, how much of the last section of the regular season is about keeping guys mentally sharp? Because I know it's a grind. It's 9, 1-week seasons if you want to look at it that way. How much of it is making sure these guys are focused every day to get ready for Friday?
I mean, I think it's a lot of that. I think, especially this year, we kind of talked today about how the playoffs have started now. Liberty plays us tough every year,
right?
And Winters Mill is having a great year, and they're sitting there waiting for us Week 9. So, from our standpoint, we feel like we're already in playoff mode, and that we have to be to try to play our best football.
In that vein, then, how have the kids responded to that challenge? That, hey, even though it's week 6, 7, 8, we got to start thinking about playoff games now to get ready for the postseason.
I mean, I think they have handled it well. We focus so much. Our short-term goal is always to win the next game. Our long-term goal is always to try to win the state championship. And, this time of year, those goals kind of start to veer together. But we have to focus on what's in front of us, every day at practice and get ready for Friday.
You mentioned Liberty. You've had some doozies. I remember an overtime game at their place that was big in the county championship. Last year goes overtime here. You guys get the victory. What do you expect out of them this week, and what do you think you need to do to win the game?
I mean, Coach Luke does an incredible job, and they'll be ready to play, and they have some really good skilled players that are going to, test us. And I expect it to be like it's been, a really competitive game. It's going to come down to who can make one more play than the other guy.
Do you feel, can you sense that the kids know, especially your veterans, that this now, we're into mid-October now, you want to be playing into December, really, but Can you flip that switch and kind of get into that playoff mode, knowing that, hey, there are still goals out there to go after in the next month?
Yeah, I think especially when you look at our team this year, I don't think we've played our best game. You know, we've played some good games, we've beat some good teams, but I don't know that we've put together 4 quarters of our best football. And I think that is really motivating to our guys, because the finality of things are starting to kind of hit you in the face that if we don't put this together now, we could be in trouble.
Thanks to Chris Bassett for spending a few minutes with us in the Coach's Corner. Up next is Liberty coach Larry Luth, whose team is coming off a heartbreaking overtime loss against rival South Carroll. Coach, each week is a learning experience. I know you don't want to lose games, but what can you take away from what happened last week against a good team in South Carroll, despite their record?
You know, this team is real resilient. We talk about every week. They never quit. They play hard. We play all 4 quarters. You know, we went up. We ended up going down, and we fought our way back. Made it go to overtime. Gave ourselves an opportunity to win. We just haven't had a whole lot of balls bounce our way this year, and you know, some years that happens, and you know, we keep working, we'll keep grinding, and hopefully we can turn our fortunes around a little bit.
And in the beginning of the season, there were questions as to who was going to take the mantle on offense. Obviously, you had a guy like Seth Jacobs back early on in the year, new quarterback, new receiving core for the most part. Do you like the way they've gone from the week, first day of practice to now?
We haven't had Seth the last 2 games, and that's definitely been noticeable. I think Chase has really stepped up. He's matured, and I think he's probably thrown for close to 1,000 yards if he didn't break 1,000 after last week. He's making better decisions. You know, still like to see him be a little bit more careful with the ball, but you know, he's making good decisions out there. He's getting the ball to our playmakers, and we have some playmakers. We just haven't really been able to put it all together. We've played some great halves of football. I don't feel like we've played a great game yet, and that's been a challenge for us to find the leadership and maturity to play a whole game, and we just haven't gotten there yet.
You'll likely need to do it again this week. Westminster Liberty has had a couple doozies in the last couple years. What needs to go well for you guys to have a chance to be on top? I'm going to guess play a full game, play 4 quarters.
We definitely have to play 4 quarters, and then we're going to have to limit Kyrie's big plays. You know, last week, if you look at our record, it's games we give up more big plays than we make, or the games that we haven't won. And you know, next week with Kyrie, he's a big playmaker. He makes some big throws when he has to. He makes some big runs when he has to. You know, they throw the screen at just the right moment when you start overkeying on things. We have to limit big plays, and then we have to find a way for us to make a couple of the big plays, and we'll give ourselves a chance to win.
Thanks to Larry Luth for his time, and don't forget, Westminster vs. Liberty is one of 3 games we're going to be bringing you this Friday, October 20th. CMSportsNet has multi-game coverage with Winners Mill at Man Valley, South Carroll at Century, and the Owls taking on the Lions. Mike Kraus and I will have pregame coverage at 6:15, and kickoffs are set for 6:30. Want more local sports coverage? Be sure to like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel.